Yep, you saw me. There you go, guys. That's a fish. There you go, guys. That's unreal! Oh, this is such an awesome looking fish. Oh, yeah! Alright, guys, check that out.
What's up, everyone? Scott the TroutHammer here, and I want to make a short video here teaching you guys how to make some spawn bags for salmon and steelhead fishing. Now, I've said in just about every video I've made involving salmon fishing that the best thing to use for salmon fishing is salmon roe, and that's the roe that's inside the hen after you harvest it. You cure the eggs, and then you use the eggs on an egg loop knot, and you run them either with a Carolina rig or under a float bobber, and that's the best way to catch salmon because they see the eggs as a hereditary threat. And they have a biological imperative to swallow those things because they don't recognize them as their own. So, most effective and reliable way to catch salmon. So, the thing about salmon roe, though, the downside of salmon roe is you only get so many casts out of it, it goes bad. So, is there an alternative that's just as effective but lasts longer? Thankfully there is, and it takes a little bit of time to prepare, but that's what I'm going to show you guys how to repair it, is the spawn bags. So, things you will need to make spawn bags. Obviously, you will need a bait of choice. I'm going to use these Potskie's Fireball, and they are the Chinook Fireballs, and that just means they have the color of Chinook eggs. I'm pretty sure that all the Potskie Fireballs have the same scent that's on the eggs. If not, please correct me. You're also going to need some spawn nets. So these are just little nets that when you see it by themselves are pretty thin. You can probably see through it, but you want to choose a color that is similar to the color of eggs you're using. Another thing you're going to need is magic thread. So this is that like really elastic thread that when you tighten it in on itself, it makes its own knot. You don't have to tie a knot on it. You just keep it really tight. And I got this in one of these tubes that makes it a lot easier to pull the line out, keeps everything from tangling in there. And you're also going to need some scissors, obviously, for trimming up the extra edges of the spawn bag. Now, there are kits you can buy that have like this tool that you can put the spawn net on and then fill it with eggs and then tie it up and it keeps your hands off. But I mean, those kits are pretty expensive. I prefer to do all these by hand because it also helps me get a feel for how tight the net is going to be. So things you're going to need when you do that, you're going to need a glove. And biggest reason for the glove, besides cleanliness, is you don't want any human scent on your eggs when you're going to use them, and you're going to need a small spoon. All right, so step one is take a single spawn net and just sort of make a ring with your fingers, something to deposit the eggs into. And the number of eggs you use is completely at your discretion. I'm going to use like maybe 10 or so eggs in this spawn bag. So it's just going to look like that by the time I put those in there. So something else other fishermen do, you can put these little puff balls in there. They're these little foam balls that are colored, and they do just fine with the eggs inside there. You use that to provide a different color. These things also give a little bit of float to your spawn bag. I'm not going to put any in here because I want these to sink. So another thing when you're making these spawn bags, you don't want to put any scents or any oils in there, especially with the Potskie's Fireballs, because these things will expand if you use extra scent with them. So I'm just going to leave them by themselves. If you're using actual salmon eggs, that's completely different. So then you just fold the corners in and then twist the spawn net just like that. You want this to be tight, but you don't want this to be ripping at the seams tight. And you take your magic thread, and I'm going to pull enough out to give me plenty to work with. And what you do with that magic thread is you get it around where you created that loop, and you wrap it around a few times, pull tight, wrap it around a few more times, pull tight, wrap it around a few more times, pull tight. It'll snap off on its own. So you can see it's keeping that closed as is. And you take your scissors, you snip the extra bit of spawn net off, and then you got yourself a spawn bag for salmon and steelhead fishing. And this thing you just rig up like you would normally on an egg loop knot on a salmon steelhead leader and fish as you would with roe. This stuff just lasts longer and doesn't fall apart as you cast. So yeah, experienced anglers, if you guys have used salmon eggs before, if you guys have used these spawn nets before, please leave any comments you have in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought. You know, any tips you guys have for salmon eggs also to, you know, continue the information spread for the audience. And I'm trying to get this channel to grow to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could, please hit that subscribe button. It's going to be down there. The notify bell is going to be up there, so you're going to be the first to see all the great content that's going to come from this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, tips up, tight lines, and have fun fishing.